Tonight, the shock political comeback, the star Labor candidate who could cost the Turnbull government its majority. A tearful Jackie Lambie quits the Senate, the eighth victim of the citizenship fiasco. Two men face court accused of taunting police on a wild crime spree. A Mick Fanning-style punch helps save a young doctor from the jaws of a shark. And is this the moment that will cost Australia opener Matt Renshaw his place in the Ashes team?
This is 9 News Central West with Vanessa O'Hanlon.
Good evening. The Labor Party has pulled off one of its biggest political shocks, convincing former New South Wales Premier Christina Keneally to contest the Bennelong by-election. A Labor victory would end the Turnbull government's majority, but it won't be an easy task. She'll need a 10% swing and is already facing an attack from the Liberals over Labor corruption when she led the state.
It was a play no one saw coming till Bill Shorten showed his hand on Twitter.
It was a close call for a 70-year-old man who slammed into gas cylinders and a fence at a service station in Dubbo. Ambulance, police and hazmat crews attended the scene at around 9:30 this morning. Police believe the man was distracted at the time and expect to charge him with negligent driving. Luckily, no one was injured. Microbreweries say they've been left in the dark about the state government's upcoming bottle deposit scheme. While consumers will be able to redeem 10 cents for every bottle they recycle, producers are concerned they'll pay more in the long run.
Mark Lockwood brews around 20,000 bottles of beer per year. From December 1, his boutique brewery in Victoria will be slugged 14 cents a unit to the New South Wales government.
The state's newest MPs have been officially sworn in today. Member for Cootamundra, Steph Cook, and member for Murray, Austin Evans, take their seats in the House today. Both national members say they will now focus on building infrastructure. Fundraising efforts have been ramped up to fund a domestic violence shelter for Orange. The centre would be the first of its kind in the city, but at least $500,000 is still needed to get it off the ground.
It's been a long journey for the Orange community.
Still ahead, the rugby league star's wife back in court over rorting $50,000 from Centrelink. Guilty, the man who injured 2 Australian women when he threw acid over a crowd in a nightclub. How Aldi manages to sell its groceries so cheaply. And the sweet taste of success with farmers celebrating a bumper cherry crop.
Ross Greenwood, 9 News.
Shopping could be classed as a sport, but now onto the real sport. And Mike, the Socceroos accused of spying.
That's right, Vanessa. Some very, very big claims by the visitors coming up. Honduras accused the Socceroos of dirty tricks ahead of the World Cup qualifier tomorrow night. How Wendell Sailor's son plans to make a name for himself at the Dragons. Also ahead, Matt Renshaw's horror form days out from Ashes selection, and why the world's richest basketballer was forced to catch the train. The road to Russia is starting to get dirty. Honduras has accused the Socceroos of spying on their training sessions ahead of tomorrow's final World Cup qualifier. Ange Postecoglou shrugged off the accusations, instead declaring his team will dominate the do-or-die match.
The stakes don't get any higher and the pressure is starting to show.
It's been a massive year of racing for Darley Classic winner Red Zell, but behind the scenes, it's been just as big for the Geldings owners. 3 of the champion stakeholders returned to Wollongong today with humble plans for the $1 million prize money.
Peter Pyrrhus has always been a fighter.
Orange will host the opening round of the Cross Country National Mountain Bike Series in December. It'll be the second year the event's been held at the Kinross State Forest course. Daniel McConnell and Rebecca Henderson are expected to defend their titles. Now that's it for sport tonight. Coming up, Gavin Morris has all your local weather details.
This weather update proudly brought to you by Oak Tree Retirement Village. Now in Orange, Bathurst and coming soon to Dubbo and Mudgee. Book a tour today.
To the finance figures now, and a big slide on the market. The All Ords down 48 points, and one Aussie dollar is buying 76.31 US cents. Now Gavin joins us with the weather, and it's starting to heat up ahead of some rain, Gav.
Thank you, Vanessa. Lovely conditions on the way, because I can say rain finally settling in across most of New South Wales and the Murray-Darling Food Bowl as we move towards the weekend. Leading up to its arrival, yes, it is going to be really warm, feeling the heat today. Plenty of 30s accomplished there right throughout the Riverina towards the slopes. A little bit cooler, but still very warm. And the humidity content, that has certainly changed the ballgame. It's been building right throughout eastern Australia. The rain event has begun. Good falls now starting to come down across central Australia, and there's plenty more on the way. On the satellite, you can see the cloud mass. It's pretty big. It's slow moving. Areas of instability there snaking their way across the state throughout today. So cloud increasing, some showers underneath that, and a little bit of storm activity as well, as that made its way up towards the northwest plains. But throughout tomorrow, the northerlies making for very warm conditions again, and then the rain is going to start creeping across the border from South Australia into Western Victoria and New South Wales, and the Riverina is going to start to see some falls throughout the far western parts by tomorrow night. For Canberra, it's just going to be warm, and the same for Melbourne and Hobart, but much cooler for Adelaide. The storms continuing throughout central northern Australia, hot in the west. Sydney, sea breezes building in the afternoon. It is going to be a sea breeze day for the east coast, and some wet weather tomorrow morning for Brisbane. Locally, starting out all fine. It is going to be a very warm beginning to the day, but starting to see little bits of scattered shower activity creep in towards the end of the day, mostly towards the evening throughout the far western plains. Overall, it's a dry day tomorrow for the majority of the region with these very warm northerly winds. Look at the thermoscale, the heat there moving in across the western plains yet again. Warming up, but not as severe over the tablelands, thanks to those sea breezes pushing in over the mountains by the end of the day. But tomorrow we're into the low 30s, cloud increasing, and a late shower or two possible. This is not really the rain event just yet, but just some scattered showers building ahead of the rain band that is coming through later in the week. Same story right across the central west plains. We've got a very warm day on the way. Cumulus cloud formation is going to become really quite big, and a couple of them will overshoot the mark to the point where they'll produce a couple of showers towards the end of the day, the evening. It is going to be fine, though, towards the slopes, the tablelands, and the Blue Mountains, with plenty of warmth on the way. Sun will be up at 5:48 and down at 7:49. It's a new moon this weekend, so it's going to be quite dark because we've got the cloud to deal with as well, because we finally have a bit of rain on the way. The Riverina and Wagga falls aren't going to be massive. It's actually going to be better off to the north, but we've got something, and it's going to be slow moving. So therefore, hopefully we'll get a little bit of soaking rain, because it's certainly going to take its time. It's going to take about 3 days to pass. So building Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then just a little bit left over for the tablelands there as we move into early next week. The better falls are going to be across the central west plains, looking pretty healthy for Dubbo and the surrounding plains as we move into the weekend. So be prepared for a little rain.
Nice to see some of that rain. Thanks, Gav. And that's 9 News for this Tuesday. I'm Vanessa O'Hanlon.